All right, Philip. So let's go ahead and jump into our weekly recap of this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. And we'll do our best to kind of just, skim through all the major highlights from the show. And I guess you and I talking beforehand, I guess we have a little bit of different opinions about this week's episode. So like always, we'll give our general thoughts and then we'll kind of work our way through the card for that night. So what was your kind of initial opinions about this week's episode of Dynamite?
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It wasn't as good as last week's, with Eddie Kingston and all that other stuff. But it was pretty good. I mean, there were a couple matches that I thoroughly did enjoy. I mean, and what MJF did was stellar. I think that's what really sold this episode of Dynamite for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just say this. I felt like the first even maybe hour and a half, I thought it was a little bit of a dud. It just felt flat. It wasn't as catchy to me as previous episodes have been recently. Last week was the first episode of Dynamite post like all these big pay-per-view inspired episodes of Dynamite between Fight for the Fallen and 2 weeks of Fyter Fest. This one, I don't know. It just, like I said, felt a little bit flat for me. Some of the matches were okay. The segments as well were all okay. It like I said, I think what it looks like they're starting to build up these new storylines to lead up to eventually the All Out. So let's go ahead and just run down through the card. First things first, I don't know about you, but I noticed right away, I was like, where's Excalibur? Excalibur wasn't on this episode. It was just Tony Schiavone, Jim Ross, and Taz sitting there. And so I was kind of like, okay, where's Excalibur? Is he okay? There's various reports going on or being announced what happened. Where is he? Philip, I know you talked about briefly on the Bulletcast. Do you want to just kind of maybe touch on it real quick, what the latest reports are with Excalibur?
Yeah, so this surfaced earlier this year, and it resurfaced again. Multiple videos from his pro wrestling guerrilla days when he was an in-ring competitor have surfaced of him saying the N-word, the GA, and he hit that hard R. Yeah, as the kids like to call it. Yeah, man, and he directed that hard R at a black man in the ring, and I don't care if it was talked about beforehand or not. You don't do that at all. And there are people who are like, oh, Hogan got banned. Excalibur should be fired. And my co-host Brandon, he made a point to say, it's a different situation because, what Excalibur did was in a promo, and Hogan, that's how he legit felt because it was behind closed doors. Yeah. Yeah, man, it's just, if you're not going to fire him, he needs to be gone for quite a while.
Interesting. Yeah, it's, I saw one clip on Twitter earlier today, and yeah, it was all part of a in-ring segment. He was outside. Kevin Owens, a.k.a. Kevin Steen at the time, were outside, the one I saw. And yeah, I was directing it to a black wrestler in the ring. And listen, yeah, I saw some of the Twitter comments, and people were like, well, listen, it's professional wrestling, it's performing art. He's performing a character. And if they, planned it out in the back and everyone involved, all parties involved were okay with it, then I think the comment was saying like, okay, then everyone else should be okay with it. I'm kind of with you. It's like, listen, I think that there's just some things you just don't do. Like, use your common sense. Listen, I get it. You're trying to maybe get heat for your character. Do something else. Just don't even go there. It's not even worth taking that risk. And as you said, even if it's with, a hard R or an A, just don't even go down that road. It's not right. And listen, I know like right now in America and around the world, it's a very hostile times right now, with politics and race and all this stuff right now. I know this was years ago, but still, it's wrong to do. You don't say that publicly. It's a bad thing. And yeah, I'm with you as far as he shouldn't have done it. And it's just ridiculous. And even if all parties were involved, and I heard you say earlier on the Bulletcast, you're like, why that guy in the ring agreed to even let that happen? Or if you had a chance to talk to him, you would ask him, why would you let that happen? or agreed to let that happen.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I mean, look, people think just because, and I'm going to get into a little tangent here, I'm sorry, but, just to clarify things, just because it's used in pop culture, hip-hop, rap, R&B, whatever, it doesn't matter. The A is still a derivative of that hard R. It's still racist. And I don't think my people truly understand that. If you don't know, I'm an African-American male. I don't think people really get that, We thought, we'll use an A, we'll take back the word. That's not what's happening. That's not what's happening at all. It shouldn't be thrown around in the substitution for, what's going on, bro, or homie, or brother, or whatever. Just don't do it. Like in my personal life, I don't say it unless I'm explaining something to somebody. And like, I listen to rap music that has a lot of the word. When I'm rapping along to a song, I don't say it. Just I don't feel the need to say that.
Yeah, no, I understand, and I think I saw another report that I guess Excalibur, he knows these exist. Obviously, he lived through it, but I guess when these videos first came out a while ago, he apologized then. So it's an interesting situation. How's AEW handled this? Because with Hogan, as you said, like the difference was Excalibur was performing at a wrestling event while Hogan was caught on the audio of him, talking in his personal life and behind closed doors. So that's one difference there. But you look at AEW, like they announced a while ago that Hogan was banned, and even his wife Linda, for racist related comments that they made in the past. And so it's a tricky situation because you don't want to be a hypocrite as a company. But at the same time, if Excalibur's addressed it before, I don't know. I don't know what's the proper solution in all this. It's a real tricky situation. And even I'm just thinking, you look at Sammy Guevara and his comments he made in the past on the podcast, and he was suspended for a month without pay. So do you do something similar with Excalibur, similar to what you did with Sammy Guevara? I don't know. I mean, Tony Khan and the powers that be who control people's fates like that, I'll leave it up to them. And
you want to make an impact? He needs to be gone for the rest of the year.
Wow.
That you take it that seriously.
And send that message across the locker room and all the other personnel, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, and of course we'll react to that once we probably get more info from that. And apparently the rumor was he was there. He was in Florida, but they just decided not to put him on TV. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, jumping to the actual show for Dynamite this week. Opening 10-man tag, 5-on-5 Inner Circle taking on Best Friends and Best Friends. Best Friends and Friends, right? So it was Jurassic Express and Best Friends coming out. I don't know about you, Phil. This match is kind of a dud. Like, I think, like, you could tell early on they were trying to set up that spot with Orange Cassidy, but then the rest of that, I felt like it was a big cluster F and kind of messy and didn't really seem too planned out. I don't know what you thoughts about that opening match.
It did become a cluster. That's what's going to happen with 10 men in the ring. This is probably the best I've seen of Luchasaurus. This is probably the best use of his body that I've seen. Him and Jake Hager, the Big Hurt, going at it. It was nice. Sammy Guevara did take the pin. That they're not just, he was gone for a month and he's going to start winning again. No, he got pushed by
Matt
Hardy, and he took the pin. I'm sorry for our friend Chris Jericho that he lost, but
I know.
It's what happened. And like I said, man, whenever the Inner Circle all wrestle together, they lose.
Interesting. So that could be that's something I don't think commentary or anyone else has brought up. You were the first one to bring it to my attention. So theoretically, that could be something down the road that they could refer back to. And in case you missed last week's episode, first off, shame on you. Go back and listen to all of our episodes in the last few weeks. They've been dynamite, no pun intended. But Philip, you brought up a good point with Eddie Kingston making an appearance at Dynamite last week. You got Santana Ortiz of LAX back in TNA, and you see, was it Diamante kind of making appearances for AEW? So you think that could be a faction right there, like a new version of LAX, AEW version?
I threw that up on the Bulletcast Twitter and Instagram. I don't know if you've seen it. The LAX, the Latinx faction. I think that'd be great. I want to see more of Eddie Kingston in AEW, and I think that'd be a nice way to go. I really do. All in all, with this tag match, it happened, and Yeah.
I think it more or less just set up reminding people, hey, Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara have beef going on. Adds a little more tension between Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy, and everyone else just kind of filled it out. It was just, like I said, it was a lot going on. A lot of people standing around waiting for spots to play out. So, like I said, it was okay, but it didn't really like wow me at all. And poor Aubrey Edwards. She had her work cut out for her. That's what Tony Schiavone said. And then let's see, jumping ahead. Let's see the next. I'm just scrolling here. What else was happening on that show? Oh, Cody Rhodes, right? That was the next match. Cody Rhodes once again has open challenge for the TNT Dynamite. Actually, they say TNT Dynamite, the TNT Championship. It was been promoted for like the last week. It was Warhorse. I don't know too much about him, but apparently he's just this one of these independent wrestling darlings out there that people love. And Cody Rhodes heard that people wanted him to wrestle him, and so he brought him in.
He's like a mix of Ultimate Warrior, Renegade, and he had the little furry kick pads like Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania 30.
Thank you.
Nothing special here.
Well, so that's the thing. It's I didn't know much about Warhorse. I saw the photos of him, and I'm like, okay, he's got face paint, he's got long hair, and I saw some photos and videos online. I'm like, okay, it looks cool. But yeah, he comes out to the ring to a thrash metal song. I was like, that's awesome. I'm a metalhead. I love thrash metals specifically. And it's cool. He had like the denim vest on, and he had like a Black Sabbath, King Diamond, Iron Maiden, a bunch of just different metal bands that I love on his vest. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, when he comes out, it's a lot of head banging. He's got the hair going up and down. And, he's throwing up the devil horn on his hands. And I'm with you. It's like, okay, I think he's trying to have the intensity like Ultimate Warrior. But the way his body language was, yeah, it very much reminded me of Renegade, which a lot of people thought was a ripoff in WCW of the Ultimate Warrior. But yeah, his mannerisms reminded me more of Renegade than Ultimate Warrior. But so I didn't know too much about him. The match was solid. Early on, he was countering everything Cody was throwing at him. So Cody was getting very frustrated, kind of getting frustrated towards Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson was trying to help coach him out of it. So I enjoyed that as far as like this independent wrestler coming on to AEW and challenging Cody and taking him to the limit. And Cody eventually got the win with the figure 4 leg lock. And so Warhorse, I think it was a great opportunity for him on a big stage on national TV to be seen by everyone. Hopefully brings a lot of stock to his name now. And earlier today, I found on YouTube a cool like 10-minute video about Warhorse and his backstory and just his time in pro wrestling. So I recommend, I might share it on In The Kliq social handles if you want to see it. It's just his backstory, who he was and how he was inspired by the Road Warriors and Ultimate Warrior and like all these other characters. So it's kind of cool. His whole look is inspired by all these throwback guys and Sting, all these guys who wear makeup and stuff. So and listen, I love metal. I'm gonna try my best to maybe kind of follow him from here on out. If I don't know what his plans are, if AEW is gonna try to keep him around or he's gonna go back to an independent scene once things pick up again. But he won me over as a metalhead. But it was very cool. So and then after the match, we saw the Dark Order.
I never want to see him again.
You never do?
No, I'm sorry. It didn't land with me. -6 stars, Warhorse. -6 stars. Yeah. Like you were about to say, we saw the Dark Order come in, start jumping Cody and Matt Cardona. The Strong Island IZ made his debut to All Elite Wrestling. We know he's friends with Cody, best friends with Cody. And yeah, the former Zack Ryder he's found a home in AEW.
Actually, I saw online a lot of people were calling him, change his name to Jack Ryder. Dude, look how buff he was.
He's got that Hogan 87 tan, brother.
But my thing too is like he was in great shape in WWE. So I don't know why people are like, oh my God, look how jacked he is. He's always was in great shape. But then again, he hasn't been on TV for a few months. So maybe he's just been working out a lot from home. So maybe that's the extra muscle he was able to put on in a short time frame. So it's a couple things I thought was cool was that Warhorse, I think, pushed Cody out of the ring, kind of saving him. But then Dark Order, I think we might have to do that. Maybe for a future episode, we just kind of discuss the Dark Order. I'm still kind of on the fence about them in general, and not to take away from this segment right now, but we could discuss Dark Order on their time so far.
You don't believe in the movement? It's not a cult. It's a movement. It's a revolution. It's a way of life.
So what are your thoughts about Matt Cardona? I mean, what do you think of his actual debut in AEW? Some people were like, oh, it was a great way for him to debut. Some people were like, it kind of felt flat.
It happened. It happened. You know, this is all my doing. Like I said earlier, off air, we have this thing on the Bullet Cast where if I interview somebody, they go on and have success. Or even if I just talk to people about interviews, like I reached out to Matt Cardona last week. You know, he declined, but look at him now. He talked to me. Now he's doing big things. So you're welcome.
There you go. You're the good luck charm for him in his career.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's like, okay, like I'm trying to have an open mind right now, trying to be positive, be optimistic for him in his career. Listen, what was it? 10 years ago, he got himself over by using his YouTube channel and using social media at the time. And he got this great following as a single star. And then in more recent memory, he wasn't being used too much. I know he had the big IC win at WrestleMania a handful of years ago. He won the Raw tag titles with Kurt Hawkins a couple years ago at WrestleMania. Actually, it was last year. It was in New York. So it was good for them. Both New York guys went in front of their hometown crowd. But other than that, he hasn't been used too much. I guess also NXT with Mojo Rawley. So it's been kind of stop and go for him a lot in his run in WWE. So I still know what to expect from him in AEW. I want to be positive and wish him the best and wish him the best of luck, and he's going to do amazing things. But I don't know what to expect because I feel like I'm kind of curious what kind of character is he going to have in AEW? What kind of persona is he going to take on? Is it going to be different than what we've seen in WWE? Like Matt Cardona is going to be something completely different than Zack Ryder. Is he gonna? He did his finisher. What's the finisher?
Oh, the Rough Rider. He got some height with it though.
Totally, but literally, all he does is just he drops his butt on someone. Right? It's a butt bomb. It's a butt bomb.
By God, the butt bomb by Matt Cardona.
I mean, that's all it is. He jumps on someone and then drops his butt onto their body. Like that's all it is. But
yeah, Matt. Look, I mean, he looks happy to be there. I mean,
refresh. Yeah.
Yeah, like, look, I mean, let him be a serious contender, dude. Like, hell, they win next week and then he turns on Cody.
So that's the thing. Like a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's gonna turn on Cody," which that could be a great way to get some instant heat and just kind of really add some attention to his character and who he is. So I just want to give him the benefit of the doubt and just watch this play out. And I'm gonna try and for him, it's a tough battle because I'm sure he wants to get some of that stank off from his time at WWE and kind of at this point in his career, his latter part of his career, really reset who he is and show people something new. So like I said, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and see what he can do on AEW television. Yeah,
the guy has the size. Like Cody barely scrapes by him if he wrestles him for the TNT title. He barely scrapes by and gets the win.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to see what happened next. We saw Tony Schiavone out on the ramp, and he was trying to talk about All Out coming up on September 5th. But the Inner Circle interrupts him. Chris Jericho comes out once again with that white jacket with the orange juice on it, and pretty much just said, like, Orange Cassidy, the next couple weeks, they're going to have a lot going on. They're going to have a debate and then a match the following week. So who do you think is going to be the special guest moderator for next week's debate? Any ideas?
It's going to be Mike Tyson, man, and he's going to take care of that punk Chris Jericho. No, dude, I don't know, man. It has to be some Pineapple Pete. Why not? Jericho. Hate that guy.
That'd be funny. He's like, why'd you let him in here? But funny segment there. Even he called him a son of a bitch, and then he's like, Sammy, how do you say that in Spanish? And when he said son le bitch or son el bitch or whatever it was. So it was a funny segment. And then one of the guys, who was it? Was it Santana or Ortiz that said he smelled like cat piss?
It's Ortiz with the big hair.
Yeah, he said it's
cat piss, Tony.
So cool. All right. So Jericho and Orange Cassidy far from over. So we'll see how that plays out in a couple of weeks. And then FTR on a off-site segment, which, by the way, I love these segments. I think I said this before to you. I wish AEW would get back to more of these promos and segments outside the ring and just kind of do a little more world building of the AEW universe. I think some episodes it's just match after match after match, and we don't see enough of these wrestlers as characters outside the ring and kind of find out more who they are. So this segment here, we saw FTR at quote contract signing, so now they're officially signed with AEW. And Arn Anderson comes in as like their special tag team specialist to look over the contract. And then they sign and they're celebrating. And then Hangman Adam Page comes in with whiskey to celebrate. So what were your thoughts on how that whole segment played out?
Well, I'm glad they had Arn. He's on the wall behind me here. He knows a little thing about tag team wrestling.
Absolutely.
Tag team wrestling. Yeah, man. I liked in the contracts how they were like, a proper utilization of 10 seconds in between tag team moves when you tag in. Make sure they have the tag rope, and these rules will be specifically brought to their matches. So, and that's good because in AEW, they get clunky to where who's the legal man? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like that. And Hangman comes in, celebrating with the guys, and he has some cheap whiskey. He poured himself a little too much. But
Arn Anderson didn't want any. I don't know. Is he sober now, or what's his story? I wasn't quite sure. So
I have no idea.
He dumped his into the other one's glass there. So I'm starting to. Okay, listen. We've been speculating for weeks now. What's going to happen? Like, there's rumors of a 4 Horsemen type group coming to AEW. We've been seeing the tension between Kenny Omega and Hangman Page being played out on TV. FTR's getting involved in the mix, and the Young Bucks, all this stuff. Like, there's all these different speculations and storylines and characters all crossover with each other right now. And I think initially we talked about this within the last week or two. We thought maybe the 4 Horsemen that people are expecting, it's going to be Cody, FTR, and Shawn Spears. That's one combination right there. I was thinking, and let me ask you this, Phil. This is what I'm coming at. You see FTR being real friendly with Hangman Adam Page. I wonder if they're just being real nice to him, butter him up, to maybe eventually sucker him into a tag team title match. And then maybe that's how they defeat them and get the tag titles off them, which ultimately leads to the split up between Kenny Omega and Hangman Page. So FTR, while they're trying to be friendly right now, are eventually going to be the cancer that breaks them up. And it's like a swerve, or they trick Hangman Page. Like, they were trying to be friends with him, but they really used him just to get the tag titles.
It's a swerve, bro.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And, I think Kenny should be the one that gets pinned. And, he gets frustrated and Hangman gets frustrated, and then they just come to blows. I like that. I like that a lot.
Or another speculation is maybe it's not Cody that's joining this group. Maybe it's going to be Hangman Page, FTR, and Shawn Spears. So Hangman is going to be part of a faction. But then again, I think Heyman, he likes being a lone wolf, like being a loner. And I said this before, he could easily be the big baby face for AEW, but he, like, very much like Stone Cold, it's going to be a one-man wrecking crew. So I don't think it really would make sense for him to join and go from the Elite to AEW's version of the 4 Horsemen. It doesn't really make sense. So that's why I'm a little hesitant to go down or believe that rumor. So that's kind of a fun thing for AEW right now. It's like we should have like betting odds for the different combinations of what this 4 Horsemen group eventually is going to be.
Get some of those Vegas betting odds going.
Yeah. It's like, okay, FTR 75%. Cody Rhodes 65, Shawn Spears 45. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out there, but it's kind of fun, like these different combinations. I still kind of think maybe it's going to be FTR, Cody, Shawn Spears, Heyman, Kenny Omega split. Kenny Omega turns heel. Heyman becomes the ultimate babyface. I think that might be the more logical route. And I'll kind of explain more of that in a little bit as far as MJF. I'll get to that a little bit. But I'm just thinking, so with that combination, because we've seen Kenny Omega kind of get a little upset and showing some aggression. What he did the Jungle Boy recently. Even Cody Rhodes, he's been acting a little more heelish in the ring when he gets frustrated, kind of blowing off Arn Anderson. Who knows? Maybe Arn Anderson turns on Cody and joins FTR and their Four Horsemen lineup, and whoever it is, maybe Hangman. And I don't know. That's the one kind of intriguing story that I'm digging right now at AEW is like, who's going to join this group? So maybe they put the leak out there themselves that there's going to be maybe a Four Horsemen stable, and then the rest of us fans and podcasters are all spend months just trying to break it down, figure out who this combination of people is going to be. So as we always say, we shall wait and see. And so we'll kind of quickly go through the rest of the episode. Tag team match: Kenny Omega, Hangman Page take out Evil Uno, Stu Grayson. They lose. We see I was going to say Luke Harper. We see
Mr. Brody Lee.
He gets pissed off. He tells Colt Cabana, get out of here, and he gets mad at them. Colt Cabana, awesome on commentary. I just really enjoy how he said, they asked him, are you part of the Dark Order? He's like, no, I'm just hanging out. Like, I thought that was just funny. Like, Colt Cabana's like, I'm just checking things out, how it goes. So he's not officially joined anything. He's just getting to know them. I think seeing what they're all about. So, but nonetheless, like I said, Dark Order, I'm still just kind of on the fence about just their whole purpose right now. I think they're better now than they were a few months ago. I think Brody at least helped them, but it's still a work in progress. And I don't want to spend too much time talking Dark Order right now. We could, I think, dissect that at another time.
Join darkorder.com, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
Join the revolution. It's not a cult. It's a movement, bro.
Yes.
They're trying to change your life, bro. Brody Lee's the real Messiah, bro.
Then later on, we see Britt Baker cut a promo and said Big Swole can have a shot at her if she can defeat an opponent of her choice. And I listened to you earlier on the Bulletcast, and you gave your take of who Britt Baker's choosing is going to be.
Rebel, but if I was talking to Britt Baker, it's going to be Reba. Yeah, man, I think it would be her. I mean, I didn't realize how old she was. Like, she's older than Orton.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, how old is she?
I think like 41, like a year older, but still. She was like DDP broke in the business at like 35.
Yeah.
Like, she watching her stuff in TNA, she was exceptional in the ring, so I think that would work, and it'd just be hilarious to watch Britt Baker yell at her if she lost to Big Swole.
Yeah. Well, I got a big crush on. Is it Rebel or Reba? Or she goes by both.
It's Rebel.
Rebel.
Yeah.
I think Reba and Independent, if I remember correctly, right? Or the other way around.
No, it's Rebel, like, in general, but Britt Baker just messes up her name.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but no, I have a huge crush on her. I think she's gorgeous. I didn't watch too much of her time in TNA, but no, I think she's drop dead gorgeous. I think she has a great personality. And I think she does like makeup. Like, seriously, she does makeup for AEW.
Yeah, she's part of the glam squad, and I saw her at StarCast, and by God.
Yeah. She's tall too. Like, oh my God, she's awesome. And she actually is a former Dallas Cowboys cheerleader, if I remember correctly, as well. So
that's awesome, dude.
I'm a big fan of her. So I wish she would wrestle in the Bay Area. I know she was doing independent bookings. I don't know if she'll still do that moving forward once the pandemic lifts up, but I would love to meet her one day. Like I said, big crush on Rebel. So call me Rebel or slide into my DMs. And then next up, we saw the AEW Women's World Championship match. Shida taking on Diamante, and good match. Shida got the victory here, so good on her.
Nobody got hurt. That's all we can ask for.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. Jumping ahead, let me see what was next on the card from that night. Oh, my notes went out.
Nyla Rose. So the way they're doing the Women's Tag Cup, you pick a color, and whoever picks that same color, they're your tag partner. Vicky Guerrero and Nyla Rose are there with Dasha. And, Nyla picks purple, and she's like, oh, somebody else picked purple. And then this is the biggest acquisition that AEW has ever had. Bigger than Jericho, bigger than Moxley, bigger than Brody Lee, bigger than Cardona. Ladies and gentlemen, Ariane, formerly Cameron, from the Funkadactyls. Dude,
cool.
No, let me shoot for a second, brother.
All right.
Oh God. Listen, dude. I sent you a photo. Let me read this. I can't believe that. I can't believe they actually did this. AEW doesn't just sign anyone they can get their hands on. AEW, and it's a picture of Cameron. She was charismatic. She was over, but it's not 2012 anymore. She's not dancing with a dinosaur. Maybe she'll rekindle that magic and dance with Luchasaurus. I don't know. Why? Absolutely why? Why would you do this? She wasn't very good. I'm not a wrestler, guys. I'm not. But she wasn't good. Let's just be real here. I mean, look at the NWA, all the women that aren't wrestling. There's Melina, there's Thunder Rosa, there's Allison Kay, there's Marty Bell. Swoop those girls up, please.
AEW's taking all the NWA talent between Eddie Kingston, Ricky Starks. They know that there are plenty of people out there. Yeah, I don't know how or why they signed her. I mean, you remember when she tried pinning, was it Alicia Fox or Naomi, and they were on their stomach, and the ref's and she told the ref, pin right now. And he's like, no, she's on her stomach. You got to flip them over. So it was a big botch in the ring. So that's probably her biggest highlight in WWE.
Dude, it's just, why would you do this? My initial reaction when I saw this, if you've ever seen Kevin Hart's Laugh at My Pain, he's like, what the hell is this? What in the hell is this? That was my reaction. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Their women's division needs work so bad.
I feel like just throw all the money at Tessa Blanchard, get her in there. But then, I know Tessa Blanchard comes with a lot of baggage.
Dude, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. Let her do it.
No, I'm with you. It's the women's division. Yeah, needs a lot of help. But what's the point of this tournament? So it sounds like they're just taking all these different singles competitors, women competitors, and just matching them up, random draws, the colors that match. And you got these tag teams. You're forming these tag teams, and they're just gonna have a tournament. But what ultimately is it for? Is it for does the winner get a title shot at the end?
They get a cup.
Yeah, okay, because there's not even a women's tag team title in AEW. So yeah, okay, just a cup. My only guess is maybe this is a way to jumpstart or restart the women's division. And since it's going to be a lot of odd pairings together, you're going to see not everyone have chemistry. Some people are probably going to have some drama in the ring, and it's probably going to reignite some new, fresh stories. So maybe these two odd couple of people matched up together, don't get along, and then they lose, and then they can eventually have a match against each other down the road. So you get what I'm saying? This could be a way just to kind of create some new storylines, since it's all these odd people who are not normally friends or matched up together, eventually can start some new rivalries with one another. That's my only thought of doing this. It just gives the women's division something to do and kind of create some new stories out of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't want to watch this. I love AEW to death, but I do not want to watch this.
Yeah, I think it's a placeholder to maybe they kind of figure out what's going on. I don't know. We'll as I say, we shall wait and see. I want to be optimistic about it, but yeah, I don't know. Let's see, what else was there?
The best thing from AEW.
Oh, MJF?
The State of the Industry Address. Ladies and gentlemen, he is campaigning for the world title like a president. This has been done once before by EC3 in TNA. And EC3 did this for about a couple months. But MJF, in that one State of the Industry Address, it's already better than whatever EC3 did in TNA. I'm 100% behind it.
Okay, let me ask you this. Why'd you like that promo? What about it made you like it?
Well, it was the way in which he carried himself. He always carries himself with brash arrogance and confidence, but it was at another level. It was at another level, and the little digs were, he talks about there's a power trip going on, there's a dictatorship. We thought he was going to talk about Cody because Cody's an EVP in the history there, but he's like, no, it's the champion, it's Jon Moxley. So he announced his campaign for the championship. I guess we can call it that, or the championcy. I love it, dude. I love it. He talks about how just because you came from the land of Titans, brother, you can't do whatever you want. Like I loved that. You called for a paradigm shift, but it feels like a dictatorship. I loved it. It was awesome.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Promo of the year. I'll say it right now.
Okay, so the fact that you love it, do you think, MJF is going to turn babyface, or do you think, as great as it was, like, I love the promo too. Obviously MJF is one of the best talkers right now in pro wrestling, but I love the passion. I love the energy, the emotion, and just him kind of shooting from the hip and kind of stating some facts and kind of making some digs as well. I loved all of it, but a lot of stuff he was talking about, it's almost from something you would want to hear from a strong babyface character. Like the fact that people that are in power are running things like a dictatorship. I mean, if you put those in Steve Austin's mouth back in the 90s, you'd be cheering for him nonstop. So that's what I'm getting at, is like, I love the promo. I love what MJF was doing, but my only concern is like, imagine if that was in front of a crowd. Like, the crowd would probably ate it up and maybe start doing a turn. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's not the plan. They want him to stay heel for now. He's one of the best heels in that company that has legit heat. I don't know. It just, like I said, I loved that promo, but I just kind of wonder if there could have maybe phrased some things a little bit differently just to maintain the true heel heat.
No, it worked exactly the way it was supposed to, and I don't think he should be a babyface. He should be a heel for the rest of his career. And I've heard Jericho say this, when heels cut promos, they have to have elements of truth in them, and he wasn't just talking about the truth in the company. He's talking about what's going on in our country. That's what a lot of it was being alluded to as well. And so I loved this. Put the title on him.
You think, is that too soon though?
You know what? He just think about it. The Miz always talks about, I was the WWE champion. I beat Cena at WrestleMania. MJF, I am the youngest world champion in All Elite Wrestling history. I could see it now. I could hear it now. I love it. I love it, man. I'm a fan. And then that's how you get Cody to the world title picture. That's exactly how you do it, man. MJF is running roughshod over the tag team division. Not the tag team division, but the world title, the main title division. He's going through everybody's chickening out, and then once we're back in front of crowds, which hopefully will be sometime in early 2021. Cody can pander to the people like, I know I'm not allowed to challenge for it anymore, but I can't stand that he has it. Do you want me to do it? Do you want me to go after him? Yeah. And then boom, whatever the pay-per-view is, we get that match, and Cody gets his win back, and he's finally the world champion.
True. Okay, I like that. Great idea. What I was also thinking was, okay, maybe Moxley, he will lose the title to Kenny Omega, because they do have history together. So maybe, let's say hypothetically, he drops it to Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega has a run with the title, and then let's say loses it to MJF, a true heel, and then he has it for X amount of time, and then he loses it to Hangman Adam Page down the road. That's what I was kind of getting at. So that's why, like, my idea of, like, earlier when I said Hangman Page is better off being a babyface, a solo lone wolves type of babyface. Imagine if Kenny Omega turns on him or causes him, or they turn on each other, and he goes off on his own as a babyface. So maybe Kenny Omega takes it from oh my God, what am I blanking?
Moxley?
From Moxley, and then goes to Kenny Omega, and then after that goes to MJF, then goes to Hangman Page. So that right there is like your next at least year of AEW TV in the main event title scene. I'm just throwing it out there, but I like the idea too. What you said, Cody can easily, as EVP, say, listen, I know I said I can't go after the world championship anymore, but when have I put my status as EVP on the line? So either I'll put that on the line, and if I lose, then obviously I don't win the championship, but I have to lose my title as EVP. Or if he wins and becomes champion. So he's got to kind of put something on the line in order to make up for the fact that he doesn't have technically the world championship title opportunity anymore. So he has to give up something, offer something in return. So that's the great thing right now with AEW that I'm looking forward to. There's many different combinations from the main event title scene involving all these different players. So who knows? We shall wait and see with that. I know I keep saying that we shall wait and see, but that's a great thing about wrestling. We'll just see how this all plays out. So let's just jump ahead to the main event for this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. It was Jon Moxley teaming up with Darby Allin, taking on Brian Cage and his new, what do you call it, business partner, tag partner.
His new associate, Ricky Starks.
And I love the promo beforehand with Taz and Brian Cage and Ricky Starks in the back. And Taz started out in front of them standing there, and then he told Brian Cage, jump in front of me before people complain or something. I guess people complain that Taz is too much standing in front of the camera, doing all the talking, and everyone else is in the back. So I thought that was just kind of funny, once again, to the wrestling fans out there. But so they come out to the ring, and the match itself was good. What'd you think of the main event match? The Texas Tornado style, they said?
Yes. All out to the Freebirds and the Von Erichs back in the day in Dallas at the old Sportatorium. Yeah, man, it was fun. When they officially started, I'm like, oh, it's like 6:50, so this isn't gonna go long. Yeah. And when they actually started getting going, I was like, oh, it's 6:55. Yeah. And I mean, the highlight of it was the skateboard thumbtack. So 2 thumbtack spots in AEW 2 weeks in a row. They have an FTW title. They're extreme, brother.
Well, hardcore. Can we say hardcore? Oh, I guess extreme ECW.
They're extreme. They're hardcore.
Extreme. But yeah, it was an okay match. It's Jon Moxley, Darby Allin picked up the victory after you said that nasty just skateboard spot where Darby Allin with the thumbtack in the skateboard, no wheels, nothing, literally, and just jammed it into Ricky Starks, and like the blood pouring. I was like, oh my god! I was like, damn. And so they picked up the victory, and then, even though they won, they both start staring each other down. And then it was announced from Tony Khan that they're going to have a match against each other next week for the AEW World Championship. So it's interesting. So we see Jon Moxley. Okay, he has Darby Allin next week. And MJF is already trying to campaign to take on him at some point. So Moxley has his hands full with competitors coming at him in the immediate future. But then at the same time, I'm sure Brian Cage is still lurking. So Moxley has a big old target on his back.
Yeah, this reminds me of NXT when Kevin Owens was NXT champion. Samoa Joe was coming at him. There was he was dealing with John Cena on the main roster, and Sami Zayn was coming at him. So yeah, it's basically kind of the same thing. I mean, when you're the champ, you have a target on your back.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what happens. So I think maybe at another time, I know he said let's talk about Dark Order at a later time and just their run so far in AEW. I'd love to get maybe into a discussion about Jon Moxley as world champion, what our thoughts on the overall reign so far, and we'll see how it plays out. Because it's interesting, like, thinking he was going to come to AEW and he was going to change things up. And he's kind of just still doing the same old stuff that we saw him as Dean Ambrose in WWE. So I think that's a much bigger discussion, and we'll save that for another time. That's a whole can of worms right there we can get into. But like I said, I think from like the second half of the second hour, that's where things start really picking up, that last 30 minutes or so with the MJF promo, the main event match for the night. And so, like I said, I felt this episode just felt a little off. It had its moments, but definitely not as good compared to previous episodes. And I don't know about you, it's something that's funny I noticed. You hear them always say, in 2 weeks' time, because I think what they do is they film 2 episodes at a time. So they film 2 episodes, then take the following week off, come back 2 weeks later. So it's always interesting how they kind of plan things out, and they're like, I'm going to do that. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And so it's just because of their TV schedule or TV taping schedule. I thought that was just kind of interesting. So yeah, we'll see what happens to AEW moving forward. Still a lot of exciting stuff the whole summertime. And here we are on the road to All Out, which have they officially say it's going to be a Daily's Place? I mean, it most likely will be, right? I mean, with everything going on.
If they can find a way to change it up, I think that'd be good for them. But all in all, they're doing just fine where they are in Daly's place.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Double or Nothing looked great over there. So, yeah, I'm all for that. So, all right, Philip. Well, another exciting, or for the most part, fun episode of AEW Dynamite. And, yeah, we'll get back at it next week for another round of reviews for next week's episode of AEW Dynamite.